Every horror buff knows that the thrill of a good spook isn't limited to movies and videos. Beyond the world of eerie movies lies tales that promise to send shivers down your spine. Now, in our quest to unearth spine-chilling horror stories on the internet, we stumbled upon a treasure trove of short, scary stories on Reddit that can bring that adrenaline kick. And, of course, we couldn't help ourselves to share these twisted and bizarre stories with you all. So dive into the haunting world of Reddit's macabre short horror stories in English and prepare yourself for a night of sleeplessness. 1. The Writing on the Wall by Erlenge. A young boy lay sleeping in his bed when he heard footsteps outside his room. He peeked out of his eyes to see what was happening when his door swung open to reveal a murderer carrying corpses of his parents. After silently propping them up on a chair, he wrote something on the wall in the blood of the dead bodies. He then hid under the child's bed. The child got scared beyond belief. He couldn't read the writing on the wall, and he knew the man was under his bed. Like any child, he pretended that he slept through the whole thing and hadn't woken up yet. He lay still as the bodies, quietly, hearing the breaths from under his bed. An hour passed, and his eyes got adjusted to the darkness. He tried making out the words, but it was a struggle. He gasped when he finally read out the sentence. "I know you're awake," he read as he felt something shift underneath his bed. 2. Blurry by Cricket 101. I got my first pair of glasses last week. My parents didn't think I needed them at first, but the doctor said that there was something wrong with more than just my eyes that was apparently pretty common, and that I needed specially prescribed glasses for my own good. He said that many people were never given the chance to see the way I would, so I was lucky to get them. I thought he meant cars and faraway words would become less blurry, but over the span of a couple of days, many more things have become more clear. I started seeing nightmare creatures all around. I'd never seen them there before, like in the corners of my room and in darkened parking lots. I took my glasses off for the first time today. And let me just say it's amazing how quickly demons and creatures turn into trees and shadows. I know I'm not seeing the truth, but I'm a simple person. I'd rather things remain blurry, just the way it is for everyone else. 3. We Didn't Question Why by Movie Man. We didn't question why the small town we'd found after getting lost in the countryside wasn't on the map. We didn't question why the shopkeeper in town didn't have eyebrows or hair on his head. We didn't question why he looked so strangely, greedily, at us. We didn't question why the gas at the station we stopped at was so, luring travelers, cheap. We didn't question why the clerk at the station, where are her eyebrows and hair, insisted on making a phone call in the back before ringing us up. We didn't question why the funny man outside by our car let us know that the sun was going down. We didn't question why so many bald people stood on the street, watching us frantically leave their town behind. We didn't question why we began pulling our hair out or why we decided to turn around and head back to town. We knew why. 4. The Devil by Alicia091. I always had a problem with sleeping growing up. Many times I'd get sleep paralysis, but after I blessed my room, it hasn't happened in months. This happened to me about a year ago. I woke up in the middle of the night frozen. If I tried to move, I'd get a really loud ringing noise in both my ears. It would get louder each time I moved. I was terrified. I was too scared to open my eyes, but I felt a presence of someone in the room with me. My room isn't completely dark because I have a small blue nightlight. I open my eyes and see a very tall and dark figure with 2 horns on each side of his head just standing there in the corner of my room facing me. I panic and try to move my body. The ringing gets louder and louder and louder, and I can feel myself crying. I close my eyes and in my head start saying, "God will protect me. God will protect me." Then, I hear a low, evil voice say, "God can't help you anymore." 5. The Old Man in the Well by Hot-Blooded 1988. Keith was 12 the first time the old man in the well spoke to him. Keith was out playing after dark on the family's small farm near the well. The old well had beams supporting a rope and pulley with a bucket attached, even though Keith was told that well ran dry before he was born. Suddenly, he heard someone say his name in a slow, raspy voice. Keith whirled around and saw no one. A look of confusion spread across his face as he heard it again. Keith. This time, it was said with more force and a bit louder. The voice sounded like one of the old farmers who liked to smoke, thought Keith. Looking down the well, Keith heard the same voice asking, "Have you got anything tasty?" Keith couldn't see anything past the first 12 or so feet down the well, even though it was a full moon. "Who are you? How'd you get down there?" Keith asked. "If you give me something tasty, I'll reward you," replied the voice. All Keith had were some cookies he had stuffed in his pocket as he left to play. He put those in the bucket and it lowered it. He had lowered it nearly 40 feet and was literally at the end of his rope when he no longer felt the weight of the bucket on the rope. 20 seconds passed and he felt the weight of the bucket again and began to pull the bucket up. As he finished pulling the bucket up to the top, he heard the voice say, "No nice." Keith saw a reflection in the bucket and saw a rectangular piece of silver metal about the size of an army dog tag. It was completely flat and smooth. "Want fresh?" the voice said. Even though Keith tried to talk to the old man again, there was no response. Keith made up a story about where he found the metal and took it to his father, who took it into town and confirmed it was an ounce of pure silver. After that, Keith kept it a secret. It took a while to discover that the old man was only there the night of full moons. Keith quickly learned that only live things he put in the well would be rewarded, but only once for each item and once every full moon. So one of each kind of animal was lowered down the well and rewarded. Keith now had a cigar box mostly full of silver pieces by the time he was 16, but had run out of different animals to get rewarded for. It was around this time that a local farmhand went missing. It was also the same time that Keith was rewarded with gold pieces for the first time. Once Keith took over the farm, temp workers seemed to vanish every now and then without explanation from the farm. The old man had finally found something tasty enough to always reward. If you like this story and you want more, then please subscribe my channel, like the video, and also comment where are you from.